Hi, for a while now I've been meaning to talk about mental health, mental illness, mental well-being, personal development, personal growth. They all come under the banner of mental health. And mental health affects us in many ways. It affects us all. On a personal level, someone around us is struggling with mental health issues. On an international level, on a national level, there are actions and choices and decisions that are made that have a strong aspect of our mental health. So it affects us all. We've created an industry, it's like an industry around mental health. And in that industry came the byproduct of a stigma. And with that stigma came the fear of not opening up. Many people don't open up. Many people don't seek help. They suppress their emotions. And those emotions just build up inside, which can create more of a problem. And the mental health issues just continue and actually get accentuated. And we see that with the violence that is happening around the world on all sorts of levels. So we need a new approach. I think everyone appreciates the fact that we need a new approach. And it's not so much a new approach, it's a more refined approach of what we already know, what we've already experienced, what's been taught before. We just need to bring that up in the forefront of our mind. I like to look at mental health and what's happening right now in our society with the increase of mental health issues. There's more people with anxiety and depression and psychotic disorders increasing alarmingly. The services are increasing, the money that we're throwing at it is increasing, but it just doesn't seem to work. So we need a new approach. We seem to think that there's something that needs to be fixed with our mental health issues. Sure, there are people that are excessively affected by imbalances biologically, neurologically, physiologically. Their imbalances are there. But for the majority of us, the anxieties, the depressions, the psychosis, it just needs to be looked at with a different approach. And our mental health is just part of our evolutionary process. It's not something that needs to be fixed. It's something that needs to be looked at in a different way. So that's the struggle. The struggle is mental health issues are increasing. And with a struggle, we need a solution. With solutions, we need the how. So what is the solution and the how? We need to look at the way our minds is dominated our lives. And the mind and the way it dominates is part of our evolutionary process. The mind, our ego, our image, our identity, we rely so much on our image, we rely so much on our identity now. And it's come to a very excessive stage. And that excessiveness is a good thing because it's obvious. It's something we can see clearly. There's so much low self-esteem. There's so much beating ourselves up, being hard on ourselves now, trying to keep up with everybody. But that only seems to increase the anxiety and the depression. With the mind domination comes increasing ruminating thoughts, self-sabotaging thoughts. And those thoughts take up a lot of our energy. And this is where it becomes like a vicious circle. Because with a low energy, we're not motivated. We know we want to do something, and we always have things that we always want to do. We're not present enough in what we're doing right now. And those ruminating thoughts just keep continuing, the energy gets lower. We still become more unmotivated, but we want to keep up with everybody, and it becomes like a vicious circle. I'll just tell you a little bit about my journey. Over 10 years ago, when I had major depression, I was diagnosed with bipolar and personality disorder. And I started to see holes in the mental health industry. I started to see holes in what I was being told. And I started to question what I was being told. And thankfully, I had the clarity to do that. And I was motivated enough to exercise, to be more confident, more independent in what I was doing. And that gave me the impetus to continue looking at it in a different way. I know now that there were two things that there was one that was holding me back, and there was one thing that was trying to come through more and more. And this is part of the new approach we need on mental health, is to change our terminology, to change our perspective and our perception, and to look at things in a different way, to use this terminology on a regular basis. Just the way we talk about our physical health and diet and lifestyles, etc., and financial parts of our lives, our money struggles, our money situations. We need to talk about the mental health issues, and we need to talk about it in more of a spiritual terms. So the two things that were trying to, or the one thing that was holding me back and the one thing that was trying to come through, were my mind and my soul. My mind had got to a stage where it was that dominant, I was going to take my own life. That's how crazy it is. The mind was going to kill its vessel. That's how crazy it gets. And luckily I saw that. And how did I see that? The thing that was trying to come through was my soul, the voice of my soul, the voice of my heart. And I know that for a fact now. I'm very clear with that over the last 10 years, all the work I've done. I realise that it's my soul's journey now. And that's the type of terminology we need to use. We need to use things like mindfulness, meditation, consciousness, the ability to see what we need to change to end our suffering, self-awareness, the voice of the heart, the soul's journey, the spiritual journey, the spiritual path, and the bigger picture. What's this all mean? Where are we heading in our evolutionary process, in our human evolution? We were once animals. Whether you believe in the creationist theory or the evolutionary theory, it doesn't really matter. We've created rules and regulations, and we try to subject ourselves to those rules and regulations, but basically we're still animals underneath all that, with those same basic instincts. And the identity crisis that a lot of us go through, the image that we try to keep up to, is part of those rules. We've set those rules in our mind, and that's what we need to look at. And it's not only those that are struggling with mental health issues, everyone needs to look at it, even the professionals that are helping, even the services, the wonderful services that are out there, many services that are out there. We all need to look at that. And when we can look at that and look at ourselves and see the mirror, how we mirror one another, we can become more compassionate. With more compassion, we can connect. We can start connecting more. The more we connect, the more we open up. And then that'll break down the stigma. The more we open up, it will break the stigma down. It'll just fall away quite naturally. That's part of the evolutionary process. And when we look at evolution, there's always opportunities in evolution. Animals grew gills and they could survive in water. Animals grew wings and they could fly. So the evolutionary process always has opportunities to it, attached to it. And that's how we can create an approach to mental health issues. So to take our mental health issues as an opportunity to grow in our evolutionary process is a very positive way to look at it, and that's a very positive approach. And the how is to go inward, to create that that openness and that connection we have with one another, which will create compassion, and to meditate, to grow in our consciousness, to see what we need to change to end our suffering. Our self-esteem, we can raise our self-esteem by doing the work that we need to do. We can watch our thoughts and let the thoughts go that stop us from suffering. And as we let them go, we create more energy, and with that more energy we become more motivated. We walk towards our fears. And as our fears fall away, our talents come through, our creative skills come through. And then we can give that to others. We become more creative in how we can evolve to a better species, to create a better world. So that's the how, and that's my look at mental health issues. It's my passion now. It's where I head now for the rest of my life, to create and to inspire towards a different approach to our mental health. It's a serious issue, and yet it's not a serious issue. We only make it a serious issue when we keep creating the dramas and we keep suffering in our lives. But when we stop the dramas, when we face our fears, when we go inward, when we connect more, when we become more open, when we become more compassionate, we will gain more self-respect, more self-love, more self-appreciation, more gratitude. And with that, it becomes a happy and full life. So, until next time, enjoy.